Good morning and welcome to the Way of Life Thursday check-in. I'm Michael Schechter, and I hope everyone's having a great week and enjoying the Way of Life program. By now, you should have looked at the very interesting materials on fueling your workouts. Again, I'm a huge proponent of exercise, and I love the options and flow chart that is offered in this week's materials on strategies about how much you need to fuel for a given workout. And I love the reminder about the importance of water throughout the day regardless. So this week's challenge, eat a fruit and vegetable at every meal. Again, that's a great idea. Fruits and vegetables reduce our risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer, and help us lose weight. So they're great to have as adjuncts to our diet. The activity this week is to put together your best pre-workout snacks. So take a look at what you put together and what you like for yourself and what powers you through those vigorous workouts that I hope everybody's doing. Remember, you can still do push-ups, squats, and lunges every day. That's a wonderful thing too. Today's topic is around taming temptations or taming cravings. And this is something that I have a lot of experience working with when it comes to tobacco cessation. That's where I first talked about cravings. And I use a lot of the lessons that I learned as a tobacco cessation specialist to help people crave temptations. I'm going to start with a nice quote from Stephen Covey that's on I think a nice website, CassieChristopher.net. This is a person who supports people as they try to change their eating habits and again talks a lot about cravings. But I love this quote from Stephen Covey. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, right? So, the quicker we respond, the more it is a reflex, and the longer we take, the more we can influence things. So in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies growth and freedom. So that's a wonderful quote. And I think it's something we can take to heart as we travel through life in the interest of aging in a more healthy manner. So taming temptations, comes down to working on our internal environment and separating that stimulus, whatever caused that craving or that hunger, from whatever response we choose to make. Now, next week's reading materials will go over some of this as well, but I think it's helpful to expose you to it a little early. So the dietitians, when they talk about taming temptations, they use the mnemonic CARE, C-A-R-E, and those things stand for control your environment. So that's really helpful. Know what foods will tempt you and keep them out of your reach, or at least work on portion control. Try to find replacements for tempting foods. So that involves not only things like taste, but also, texture of food, temperature of food. On hot summer days, frozen fruit slushies, smoothies can be almost as good as ice cream if we have our head wrapped around it right. Sometimes it's helpful to rely on an accountability partner, although, again, I'm hoping you develop that ability to become accountable internally, not only to become accountable, but also to become forgiving. So that's C. A stands for allowing some room for indulgence. We definitely, have food as a central part of our lives and should be a source of enjoyment. But, healthy lifestyles allow for moderation. So, I talked last week or 2 weeks ago about my fast food go-tos. Again, allowing room for indulgence, but making some reasonable choices along the way. Remember your why. Again, I talk about this every week, but whatever is motivating us in the interest of health, we have to cultivate those motivations and then work on suppressing less healthy motivations. And finally, the E stands for explore the craving. So we're going to take a quick look at these things. I bring in to these lessons, the lessons that I learned again as a tobacco cessation specialist. When we talked about cravings, when it came to tobacco, we talked about the 4 Ds of craving management. And the 4 Ds of craving management when it comes to tobacco are drink water, do deep breaths, do something else, and then delay. Now, I didn't put delay in there, but that's sort of the idea. Delay, cravings will go away. Sometimes you can outlast them. When we talk about the 4 Ds of craving management, when it comes to controlling your hunger a little bit, I changed them a little. I still use drink water. Water's awesome because, it can be refreshing. It can change the taste in our mouth. It can fill us up. Deep breathe. I hope by now everybody understands the concept of belly breathing and how that activates the relaxing side of the nervous system, that parasympathetic side. So we want to take nice belly breaths, and as we inspire, our belly gets pushed out, and as we expire, we push that air out hard using our core muscles. And if you can do a set of 10 deep breaths, not only does that help you put time in between the stimulus and the response, it also allows you time to be mindful and to understand potentially a little bit more the source of your hunger. When we talk about hunger sources, oops, that is a mistake. When we talk about hunger sources, there we go. Sometimes we talk about emotional hunger versus physical hunger. I like this chart here from Sleek Geek. Emotional hunger starts suddenly. Physical hunger comes slowly and makes sense. Physical hunger is felt when we haven't eaten for a while. Emotional hunger mostly felt in your head and in your thoughts, and physical hunger, a growing pain that tends to come in waves and be a little bit more associated south of our neck, below our neck. That's a physical hunger. With emotional hunger, we can become fixated on specific foods. It's hard to satisfy. It often leads to overeating, and it may trigger feelings of guilt, regret, or shame, whereas physical hunger grows sort of as a physiologic pace, is quelled by a multitude of options, not just one, and is easier to satisfy. So it's important to understand emotional hunger versus physical hunger. And if this is a concept that may be appropriate to you, there's certain charts that are available, like this one from Cassie Christopher, who talks about food cravings and feelings. And feelings can influence food craving. We've talked about the cognitive triad before, but feelings can influence food cravings. Sometimes good feelings, when we celebrate, let's eat cake, or when we're feeling bad, I'm sad, where's the cake? Okay, right? So that should make sense. So determine and understand the source of your hunger, and then finally do something else. Do something instead of eating. Exercise is great because it's really hard to eat while you're exercising. Organize things, meditate, call a friend. Again, taking a walk, wonderful things to do to put some time in between that stimulus and your response. In summary, we all have cravings. I mean, they're there, and managing them means looking for the gray rather than black and white. We don't want to completely prohibit ourselves from eating things, but we want to enjoy food in moderation and not feel guilty after. Be forgiving. Look at the big picture. Tomorrow's another day. If you're eating as a reaction to something else, learn to recognize those feelings and manage the tension that the craving creates. In closing, I want to remind you to track. It's a very powerful tool to help you stay on track, no pun intended. Remember, we're always looking for balance here. Calories in, calories out, balancing accountability with self-forgiveness. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, Don't forget, you can reach out to our coaches. As a participant in the Way of Life program, you're eligible for free coaching and free registered dietitian consults, and they are happy to work with you on strategies to help you succeed. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you're getting something out of these Thursday check-ins. Until next week, have a healthy week and give us a call if we can help. Take care.